All right, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of the Teardown. My name is Jeff Gluck, and I'm along with my coworker, Jordan Bianchi. We are motorsports writers for The Athletic, and we are here at Daytona International Speedway, although we are in different rooms. Jordan, I miss you over in this other room that you're in. I don't know why
Air
you
high
don't want to
five,
see me
buddy.
in the same room. Virtual high five, yeah. Jordan has left me with a mystery suitcase. I feel like I'm on Deal or No Deal. I will be opening this later tonight, I guess at the end of the episode, to reveal my outfit, and it's just sitting here taunting me in the meantime. Did you bring this just for this
Yeah,
occasion, this entire suitcase?
yeah. I mean, it's got the accoutrement of your outfit. I mean, this is not just a pants and a shirt, Jeff. This is an entire wardrobe and accessories. You got to look the part.
Okay.
You're a big time reporter for the Athletic. You got to dress the part.
I mean, I could be dressing as a clown. We will find out. But in the meantime, we have some racing to talk about. Thank goodness.
We do.
We have two people tied for the points lead already, 10 points each. We have seen two duels tonight.
Yeah.
We have set the lineup for the Daytona 500. Tyler Reddick won duel number one.
Oh, by the way,
Christopher Bell.
no one was talking about that. It felt like it
Yes.
was like an afterthought.
Yes.
It was your tweet, by the way. I was walking on a pit road because I was going to Jimmy Johnson, and you tweeted out, "Oh, by the way, Tyler Reddick," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's right." I didn't even know who won. I had no idea who won because I was so focused on. I think everybody was focused on Jimmy, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's neat."
Yeah, exactly. You had to wait till the replay to see what happened because you're like, oh yeah, it was a race too, and like at the front.
Yeah,
Yeah, so Tyler Reddick won the first one. Christopher Bell won the second one, and we, both transfer battles were phenomenal.
oh my goodness.
You look at the entry list and you're like, I mean, first of all, it
my-
looked like only one car was going to go home because you didn't
Yeah.
think NY Racing was going to come down or whatever. And then they are coming down, and it's like, oh, Greg Biffle's on the side of the car on their hauler, and then he's like, no, you didn't pay me. I'm not racing. That's not me. And then the next picture of the hauler was it taped over his name, and then it was JJ Yaley, and on pit road even Eric Estep took a picture tonight of G Biffle on the back of Yaley's suit. So Yaley was wearing Biffle's fire suit.
From like probably 2 years ago.
No, it was the NY Racing.
I know,
from
but I
the-
think
the
Biffle
sponsor.
drove for the team 2 years ago, so I didn't know if. Never mind.
Anyway, so you're like, and they were so slow in qualifying. You're like, there's no way they're even going to be able to stay on the same lap. Like they're going to get dropped immediately.
Yeah.
And Jimmy, yeah, they didn't qualify that well, but none of the Toyotas did. So
But that's
he'll
not
just
unusual
roll
though,
on
either,
up there.
though.
Yeah, but you just figured, okay, he'll roll on up there because of that. And then the next thing you know, it's like, oh, we've got a battle on our hands here because Yaley's ahead of Jimmy on the last lap, and it's like, well, what is happening here? And Jimmy's actually going to miss this thing. And then just the way it all worked out, magically, Ross Chastain somehow was stalled in the middle or something. Yaley was like, all right, well, I guess I'll go up high here. I got some momentum. I'll go around him and trap Jimmy. But then he lost his momentum. Jimmy got a push from Truex behind him. And because Truex had stalled out on pit road getting fuel. And next thing you know, Jimmy is magically in. Jimmy said on the backstretch, you wrote the story about it. He was literally thinking, man, I'm going to have to call all these partners and tell them we didn't make the Daytona 500. And, geez, I'm going to be up in the suite having to shake hands with people. And, and he was thinking about that during the race on the last lap.
And he's
then he
never
made it.
DNQ'd for a Cup Series race before, ever in his career. I mean, and you look at the entry list, and you look like Jimmy should be in. Like, he has all of the advantages that some of these teams don't. And it felt overwhelming. It felt like a piece of cake. And you kind of even thought, well, even if he doesn't qualify well, he's going to have enough people, enough friends to make sure that he's going to get in one way or another. And it looked like that was going to be the case because he was going to the front. He was having a great race and then fell back. He got spun out and then it just went sideways. And he was, I don't want to say would you describe it as panicking on the radio?
Pretty close. I mean, he's like, get
Frantic?
the 43 to drop back here. I need help.
Yeah,
all
more
that
than
stuff.
once. More than once.
Yeah.
Like he was screaming, like, I need help. Like, emphatically, and he wasn't getting it, and just because Eric Jones was stuck and Eric Jones really couldn't do anything, and Truex was kind of out of line, and it didn't align for Johnson to get that push, and if Chastain doesn't slow up, he doesn't. Jimmy Johnson's out of the 500.
So, quick question before we move on here: is Eric Jones in trouble? Like, they kept asking him to drop
Oh,
back. Should he have
yeah.
just
So
completely given up his own shot at the 500 and his own starting spot to drop all the way to the back and then try to push Jimmy?
so that was asked to Jones. I don't. It was asked to Jones on pit road, and he was in a really bad spot though because it's not like he can just pull out a. I mean, yes, you could pull out a line and fall back, but the problem is everyone else is in line, and you're going to lose. You're at risk of losing the draft. Of not being able to be fast enough to latch on. Does that make sense? And so it was
Well,
all
Jimmy would then go slow enough
you.
to. I
You
mean,
would hope.
you couldn't do
But
it
there was
like
the problem is there's not enough time though. I mean, this was all within a few laps. Like you didn't have enough time. Yes, you could. They'd fall back and they hook up, but we had 3, 4 laps at the most, and who knows if that's enough time. And so Jones wasn't. It wasn't like Jones was being a bad teammate. Jones was just in a spot where he really just couldn't do anything to get out of line and make get back there in time. Luckily for Johnson, Truex had his issue on pit road.
I 3 laps, 4 laps might be enough time. The last lap, no, but I mean, you could do
Maybe.
like the shake them before you make them. Like he drops all the way back, and you know what I'm saying? Like,
Could you do that again, please?
no, but
Please.
no.
This could be my new
Listen though,
ringtone for you.
is there not enough time to do that? Like, I mean, I don't know.
I just think all of this is unfolding so quickly, and you have to remember too. I mean, I'm sure, and I don't know how the spotter stand was situated. I would presume that the legacy spotters were close together, right next to each other. But you remember, they can't directly talk with each other. I mean, they have to go through. You have to have radio. Someone's got a radio on your team, and then you got to talk to them. It's not like you can just do this. I just think this was unfolding so quickly, and everybody was in a pack and everything else that it wasn't a situation where it was just easy for Jones to drop out. I mean, Jones is a good teammate. He's always been called that, and it's just, and it's not like he what does he care? I mean, he was going to start in the back anyway. He knew that, and so it didn't matter if he finished 15th or he finished 20th. He was going to be in the Daytona 500. So it wasn't like he was looking out for self-interest. What he's looking out for is like, I have to be smart here because if not, I could wad these cars up very easy. The other thing you got to remember too, you pull out a line, and we saw this earlier. You pull out a line, everybody else slows down behind you, and then people start running into each other. So there's no guarantees. And Johnson at one point thought he was going to get into another wreck. So it just, it worked out. I don't know what to say, but it worked out for him, and I don't put any blame on Jones whatsoever.
Okay, interesting. So, one element before we get to the second duel is after qualifying, you're looking at the Toyotas. What the best qualifying Toyota was 22nd, right? They've got this brand new car, and the Fords with their brand new car go out and sit on the pole, and it's like, wow, this is looking pretty impressive here, right? Like, maybe I know it's only a single car lap, but still, like that, what's up? And you don't expect the Toyotas to be like that bad, but they were not only not that bad, they were like phenomenal tonight. They, despite all their bad starting positions, just largely, whipped up to the front, won both duels, and made it look fairly easy in overcoming bad track position. And you add in that they now have a few more cars with the Legacy Motor Club cars than they've had,
Yeah.
where in previous Daytona 500s we're talking about, oh, like they don't have enough bullets and they have to work with other manufacturers. And, I know it's only a few more cars, but maybe that makes a difference.
It's a huge difference.
So, yeah. So, I mean, is a Toyota not going to win the 500? I mean, I don't know if it's that simple, but they sure look good.
They look great, and I chuckle because after qualifying, where it's like, oh man, the Toyota's struggling. It's like, have you watched Daytona 500 qualifying in recent years? And I know it's a redesigned car and et cetera, et cetera. But it's like Toyotas typically don't qualify well here. They just don't. It's not their emphasis. They care about race. They that's what they focus on. and it's like just let's see what they can do. And I wasn't surprised they moved up there. Like they work well together. They historically have worked very well together. You mentioned it. You made a great point. The one thing they haven't had is numbers, and it's always been, 6 cars, maybe 7 cars if you get an independent who's Toyota brings in, like the Gaunt brothers a few years ago. But usually it's a numbers game, and it's cost them. In 2021, they had the fastest cars that year, but because they didn't have enough numbers and green flag pit stops and everything, they ended up getting cycled back, and it didn't work out for them. And a Ford ended up winning the race because Ford does a really good job with the numbers. But now they added 3 more cars, and they added Jones, they added Johnson, they added John Nemechek. That's you need that. They needed that, and they know that, and it helps a lot. So I wasn't surprised to see them move up there, and they look really good. And my question to you, Jeff, is I think they're the favorite. I think if you had to pick a favorite to win the 500, I think you're picking a Toyota driver. Are you not?
Well, how can you not after what we just saw? Like, I mean, it seems now it's never that straightforward, right? There's
No,
wrecks. There's
never.
teammate alliances get broken up, pairings get broken up, all sorts of that stuff. So it's never that straightforward as it seems after the duels. But sure, sitting here tonight after what they just did, I mean, especially like Reddick in the first one, didn't he go from 16th, 19th or something to
Yeah.
first? I mean, Bell was way back there. Bell was way back there, and he
All of them
ends
were.
up winning.
Jones was back there. Johnson was back there. Johnson went into the top 5 in a hurry. Like they
Yeah.
all, Bubba was up there and hit. I mean, they all moved up very quickly.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. It's interesting. I think there's always the talk about the first and the second duel being so different, but they were pretty different up until the last like whatever 15 laps maybe or something, right? Or pretty much the same. Did I say pretty different? I don't know what I'm
Yeah,
talking about. Um,
it's late.
yeah, they were pretty much the same because it was like, all right, they're going to run two by two until the first pit stop. The second duel had a bit later pit stop. But they were, it seems like with this plate racing, the super speedway racing, they're doing that because they're trying to save fuel. And so it actually helps them. I mean, you could see on TV, Fox was showing it, they're running like 50% throttle in the
Yeah.
pack there. And so nobody's really making moves, even though I just said the Toyotas can move up. But, they're pretty much riding, right, until that first pit stop. And it sort of made the duels a little bit weird in that sense. But then everybody, they split into these different groups. Then they all come back together, and there's some diciness there. So, then the big difference was then there's a huge wreck, right? So, um, I don't know. I guess what do you make of the wreck? First of all, Blaney was pissed
I was very
about
pissed.
and here's my thing. Like, and I went out and I talked to Dustin Albino and Bob Pockrass and Zach Sterniolo about it because I was like, I'm struggling to understand like who is he pissed at? I didn't
I
really
think
get
Brad
that. He's
Keselowski.
furious. What?
I think he's Brad, isn't it?
Okay, but what Brad didn't. I mean, what did Brad really do exactly? I mean, here's how I saw it. Byron pulls up. He loses his momentum. He's like sort of stuck out there for a second. Then the other cars are coming really fast with a run. Kyle Busch tries to check up, and it's not enough. Then he tries to check up even more, totally gets out of it. And Brad is pretty close to Kyle. So Brad is not going to be able to slow down in time. So Brad gets into Kyle. Kyle, it sets off the whole chain. But and I understand Blaney's pissed. I mean, he keeps getting wrecked hard over and over and over. But I'm not really seeing where you can just be like, Brad was giving Kyle a push or Kyle was giving Byron a push or whatever it was, and ill-advised push. I mean, Kyle even says in his post-race interview, "Well, I didn't want to push in the tri-oval. I know what happens when you do that. You get like a broken leg. Like I mean, it's not ideal, but Byron is right in front of me here. Like what am I supposed to do? I it the consensus out there, at least from what I was gathering, is maybe Blaney's just mad in general.
Yeah, I think
Um,
that's probably where you go. Is that he's been wrecked out in these races a lot. He's always a contender in these races. He's almost always puts himself in a position to win these races. You got to remember too. You go back to the last Daytona race in August. He was leading very fast, and got wrecked and wrecked really hard. I think we need to emphasize just how bad of a wreck that was, because it was one of those of, ooh man, is he okay kind of things, and it takes a toll. And I think you just get out of the race car, you're mad. Brad has a bit of a reputation in these races for being the guy who causes the accidents, and so you're frustrated, you're angry. The guy who's normally the guy who is often involved in these things is now involved in this one. And so it's very easy to point the finger. And I think, maybe tomorrow Blaney may have a different reaction to it. So I would chalk it up to heat of the moment more than anything.
Sure, and I understand that. I was like, what? Wait, what is? I'm trying to. I'm like, is he mad at Briscoe, who was behind him originally? Like, I just couldn't see
I think he's just, yeah,
where it was coming from. But I
just mad
understand
about
being
being
mad.
hit. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I get
and
it.
I
And
tell
it's
you
just,
what, Kevin Harvick, an immediate great add to the booth there tonight
oh,
because I
so
just
good.
thought he broke down. Mike Joy, I think, was citing my story that I wrote on the Athletic. They
Yay.
didn't. He didn't say that. That was my story, but he was talking about how Harvick had said this week that the wrecks were harder hits than ever
Yeah.
before. That was part of the interview I did with Harvick, and I, I remember Harvick saying that at the class when we did this interview. I'm like, dang, like, and you could see it tonight, and they did such a great job. Fox did of first they show, they showed several replays, and then they're like, all right, what we're going to do here is we're going to show you, the in car wreck, and you see it happen so fast, and it's like boom, right? But then when they slow it down in slow motion, and you can really see it moving, and it's like or whatever, right? Like you can really and we've seen NASCAR has shown where they have like the super slow speed cameras, like even slower
Hmm.
than that, and you can really see the driver's body and head, moving so much. But even the one Fox showed tonight, I thought was so telling. I mean, you're just seeing the flames coming out in Ryan's eyes and the next hit, and just they're just getting pounded. You know what I mean? And it just, I thought a couple things of it. Right. First of all, it shows you how violent these hits really are, and it takes you inside the driver's seat, which I think is good for people to understand. But I think also the second part of that is like, and I don't know how to say this in a PC way, but this is the kind of stuff that people need to
Agreed.
see to understand how dangerous this sport is, because when you see these crashes from the outside, like even Blaney's crash tonight, right? If we just seen the outside view, you're like, dang, ooh, that looks like it hurts. Ooh, man, like they keep showing the impact in the wall, and you can see it's hard. Like there's nobody's doubting that. But then they get out of the car, they're talking, you know what I mean? They're walking away. You're like, well, I don't know, maybe it wasn't that bad. I don't know. But then when you see the in-car camera like that, slowed down, looking right at the driver like that angle was, not even like the side cam, right at the driver,
Hmm.
you're like, dang, this sport's freaking tough. And that's what NASCAR needs in a lot of ways. NASCAR needs to be like, to remind people, you can't do this. The average
Yeah.
person cannot do this. And I think that that's been taken for granted for a long time because it's sort of obvious in like F1 or IndyCar, like Indy 500. You're like, okay, yeah, that's crazy. That's insane. But when you see these stock cars with the roof around them and the head supports and all the stuff, and they crash and they get out, and you're just like, oh, I don't know. Maybe I could do that. Maybe I could. When you see stuff like tonight, you're like, okay, yeah, no, no. It takes a special kind of person. As Marty Smith was saying in Full Speed, like these guys are, they're different. They're different than us, right? And I think that's so important for NASCAR. And I don't want people to get hurt, and I don't want these situations. But when they do come up like
But
this, yeah, go ahead.
it's the possibility that something bad could happen. It's the allure, the sex appeal of these guys are hanging it out there and something bad could happen to them at any moment and you don't know what it's going to be. And it's really easy to see these wrecks happen, and the safety measures that NASCAR has done are tremendous, absolutely. And there's a reason why they haven't had a fatality since 2001. But there is something to be said for when you see these wrecks, like an appreciation for what these guys are doing. Because I do think it's very easy to see a Ryan Preece flip and violent wreck, and he gets out of the race car, and he races the next week, and you just kind of you take it for granted. You really do, um, because you don't realize what potentially can happen. And you make a really good point when you compare these cars to open wheel cars. We see, there is you feel like there's more of a protection and a cocoon and all of these things, and there is. They're be honest, but it's still, this is a violent sport, and especially with this car. And Kevin talked to you about it in your the interview you did with him on the Athletic this week, is that these impacts that these drivers are making are getting in this car, they hurt and they feel it longer. I mean, that's just the reality of this car, and it is safer in so many ways. But there's something to be said for being able to appreciate what someone is going through, the pain that they're going through. You see it in other sports, the anguish when game 7 moment, overtime, that player is cramping up and they're having to gut through it, right? You can see it. You can't see that in NASCAR because these guys are in the car, and they got the helmets on and everything else. But when you get that moment, like the shot you're talking about, you're like, whoa, wait a second. This is next level. This isn't just guys going in circles, casually, like I could do it at home. No, this is much higher than that.
And I think that that's what really has been lost, I think, in this generation, because it has been the safest generation, and thank goodness. But also, it's like it is easier. I mean, anybody can get on iRacing now. Anybody can play video games, and you're like you can get good at it, and you can go, well, I mean, maybe if I had a chance, I mean, I could maybe. I mean, who hasn't thought that, And again, I just think it's almost cliche at this point to be like, these guys are putting their lives on the line, they're risking their lives. You're like, well, I don't know, are they? Like, who's died? And I'm not saying I think that, but I feel like that could be a belief. Like
Hmm.
after the Newman thing, you're like, well, if somebody can survive that,
Yeah.
I mean, what could really happen? And I think these drivers, especially these younger drivers, have raced like it's that safe, right? Like they don't race with thinking that they could get hurt. And
We've heard that so
yeah,
many times, right? Like, I mean, so many times we've heard drivers, especially the last year or so, talk about the code and how ethics have changed and how racing has changed. And there's just a lot of these young drivers just go out and they are willing to slam into guys and make contact and shove people around. And there's not a there the art of racecraft is diminished because of this, because there's not that appreciation for, you got to respect everyone else out there and not put them in danger, because the mentality is not what it once was.
yeah, fascinating stuff. Well, that's going to cause quite a issue for several teams who now have to go to backup cars. And I thought Brett Griffin on Twitter, or X, whatever. Sorry, I'm never going to get this right. Pointed out something interesting, which is that in the past, on the Friday, if you wrecked in the duels, you've got a whole day to fix it, and then you go run Saturday, make sure all your fixes worked, and no problem. But I don't know if any of you looked at the forecast. It ain't looking good for the weekend, to the point where it seems like even Steve Phelps, we went to this Hendrick thing today to celebrate their 40th anniversary. It was a media event, car unveil, and
Sharp
he
looking cars, by the way. Those cars are
yeah,
beautiful, beautiful
they do
cars.
look good. They were going to run at Martinsville, all the same candy apple red color that was, I guess, a color near and dear to Rick's heart. But anyway, Phelps even joked, well, if we run this weekend, I hope we run this weekend, kind of thing. I think that the forecast is so bad for Saturday and Sunday, Saturday at least, that you're just like, as Brett said on Twitter, there might not be a practice Saturday. So these teams are going to have to get the backups out, or make the fixes, and then get it out in time for the practice tomorrow, which the weather's supposed to be fine, because that could be their last chance. So it's going to be a much more of a thrash for these teams that tore up stuff tonight. But interesting, interesting dynamic, interesting wrinkle that we might get with the weather. I know we just said on the last podcast, we talked about not worrying about the weather and controlling what you control, but uh, after the whole Clash thing moving up. And we don't expect this race to be moved up. I
So
think that
you're
was a,
saying right now, it sounds like you're saying this race should be moved up to Friday.
what do you, oh,
I mean, it can't run Saturday. It's a washout.
this suitcase, I can throw the suitcase out before I open it. Don't make me throw the suitcase out. I can
Careful.
run out of here right
It's an
now and
expensive
toss it.
suit in there. Why not? I mean, why you can't run Saturday? Sunday's questionable. You're saying move up to Friday. I get it. Friday night NASCAR.
All right. Anyway, thought this was a serious show, but
When have we ever been serious?
I know. Listen,
We've gone all corporate since we've joined.
by the
Dirty
way,
Mo.
I need a ruling on this from the chat or for whoever's
Oh
going to
no, I know what
tweet
you're
us
gonna
on
say, and I
this.
already got you. I already got you covered. So
All right. Go ahead.
no, please
What's
go
the
ahead.
rule?
You're
Okay,
gonna
listen.
ask if there's a rain out. Do you
Mhm.
have to wear it on Sunday, and does it count as race day? Well,
Right. Like if I wear this outfit that you have in the suitcase here on Sunday and the race gets rained out, I mean, it's kind of gross to wear an outfit 2 days in a row, isn't it?
au contraire, my friend. Au contraire.
What?
You're playing checkers. I'm playing chess. One
Why?
thing,
What's
a race isn't considered official until halfway, so you got to wear it on race day, which means race day
what if
has
it's
to
a
go to
Tuesday
halfway.
race? I have to wear
And
the same outfit.
and I bought two of the same outfits. I wasn't sure. You're a little bit of a tweener when it comes to sizing, so I didn't want there to be any issues. I didn't want you to say, "Oh, this doesn't fit. I can't wear it." So I bought two identical outfits in two different sizes, so I would have my bases covered. So if by happenstance this race is pushed to Monday, guess what? You already got the same suit. You don't got to wear it twice, bud.
I
Checkmate.
hate you. All right. Well, I guess we don't need a ruling on that. Dang it. That's bad news. I thought I was. You know, one thing I was like, they put out the press conference schedule, and like DJ Khaled and The Rock are coming in here, and I was like, oh, that'd be cool. Like, ask The Rock a question or ask DJ Khaled a question, and then it struck me like, oh, I'm gonna be wearing this clown suit or whatever Jordan's gonna have me, and I'm not gonna be like, hey, The Rock, and he's gonna be like, hey,
No,
nice
I need a
threads, my
buzzard.
man.
No. I need a buzzard because again, you're wrong. I will put money on it that one of them, if not both of them, would they will definitely make a comment about your outfit, but I will bet that one of them compliments your outfit.
I don't want to give you that W. I don't want them to like it. And then because you'll hold it over me forever. You'll be like, see, The Rock liked it.
Uh-huh.
DJ Khaled liked your outfit that I picked out.
John
I
Cena
don't
liked one
want
of my
that.
sports coats back in 2016.
See, this is what I'm saying. I can't hear this. Oh, remember back in 2024.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've gotten off topic. Sorry,
Um,
everybody.
what do you think of Austin Cindric's move on Harrison Burton there? Last lap, duel number 2, coming to the checkered flag. I thought, I mean, again, it's a duel, and you can, you kind of shrug your shoulders and whatever. I just thought if they stayed together, they might have been able to do something because once you hang out your Ford guy, your teammate, by the way, he really had no support to do anything. Because I think
Did he
Denny
mean
was.
to shuffle him out, or was he trying to push him?
Yeah, I
Did he
don't know. That's the question. It looked like Harrison kind of bobbled, or just bobbled a smidge, and and Cindric got into him inadvertently, and that moved Burton up the track. It didn't look necessarily intentional, but I'm not sure on that.
I only heard it
But
once, but didn't TV say something like, "Oh, he's not going to be very happy with
yeah,
Harrison
oh,
or
they
with
said that.
Cindric
Yeah,
about that, right?"
yeah,
But like, I was again, I, I wish we had time to go watch it again because it almost looked like he was trying to stay on him,
yeah,
and Harrison got a little squirrely and shot up, and then
exactly.
like I don't think that maybe I'm wrong. I didn't interpret it as like Cindric's going there to like pile drive him and boot
No, I
him
didn't
out of
think
the
so
way.
either.
So I guess that's why I shrugged my shoulders because I was like, oh, I think it was kind of fine, right?
Yeah, I mean, I
I don't know.
agree with you. That's my interpretation too. I don't know. I
But
just,
Cindric has a rep because of, how he's raced team, I raced Blaney at the end of the 500 when he won it. But again, he won it.
yeah, do
So,
what you got to do.
I mean,
Yeah, and again, I Cindric's good in speedway races. You know, one of those guys he probably doesn't get enough credit. I know he's won Daytona 500, but you tend to overlook him a little bit. I think he would have sense of saying, "Hey, I need to stay with my teammate here because if I don't, I got a Toyota pushing me, and that Toyota is not going to push me back another Toyota." So I do think it was inadvertent. Harrison Burton, sleeper pick for the 500
Why are you coming up with that?
because he's good in these races. He doesn't finish these races well. He admits that. We talked about it the other day, but he runs well in these races. You know, he flipped here 2 years ago on the backstretch. He was up. I think he's leading or running second or third at the time. He was in the mix at Talladega last year. Like he's good in these races. He's with Penske. He managed these races well. Had some bad luck. I'm just thinking if you're looking for a sleeper, you could do a lot worse than Harrison Burton.
We've just gotten the official Daytona 500 starting lineup because
Ooh.
inspection is all clear. So, looking at the sort of the back half of the field here, the guys who will have some work to do, obviously. I'm just going to say like 25th or lower. You've got Truex starting 27th, Corey LaJoie starting 29th, which we think
Another
he's
sleeper.
somebody that could win. Now, here's guys with backup cars and stuff. Blaney's starting 32nd, Kyle Busch 34th, Stenhouse, last year's winner, 35th. Noah Gragson was running decent tonight for a little bit there, 38th.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you who I think is a sleeper pick talking about. I mean, starting
All right.
40th, David Reagan.
Oh yeah.
I think David Reagan could win
Well,
this.
he could, but I also wonder if he's in the mix at the end and with he's got four guys around him. I mean, let's say for example he's got Brad and Chris, his teammates. He's in this race to be a pusher. Like he's not. Yeah, he is. He said it. Like they've said as much. Like he's supposed to be basically their wingman. Like,
Yeah, that
and
doesn't mean he's not going to try to win at the end.
okay, so
He can try to get him up front.
if he's running second or third on the final lap behind Brad or Chris, you think he's going to try to pass them?
Yeah, for the Daytona 500.
All
You
right.
don't think he's going to be like, yeah,
I,
you know what?
I,
I had a great career. I don't need to win the Daytona 500. I'm just going to thanks for the ride, guys. I'm definitely going to push you guys and not try at all to win
I
myself.
think I think he'll try to do something if putting them in bad spot, but I think he also is going to realize I need to be the protector here because that is why I'm in this role. And I think I think there's something to consider about that.
No, no, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm not going to agree with you on that. I don't think anybody's in this race at the end to think, nah, I'm good.
Maybe.
I mean, Kurt Busch blessed Ryan Newman with that way back in the
He
day.
did.
That was a really good teammate thing, but I don't really see that anymore. I mean, remember when the Gibbs cars all had a plan and Kenseth was kind of mad that like they didn't stick with the plan and coming out of the last turn of the last lap or whatever it was. Isn't that right? Don't I have that right?
Yeah.
Was that 2016? Am I making that
2016.
up?
Yeah.
And you had the finish with Denny and Truex,
Truex and
and
Matt was
Kenseth was
upset.
like, "Oh, we didn't say what we were gonna do, or we
And
didn't do what we were gonna
Denny
say." Yeah,
and Denny had to look out for his best interest, went against the
right.
plan. Yeah.
I just don't see teammates again. I mean, look at Brad versus Joey when they were the last year they were teammates, right? They crashed or
Yeah,
one of the
but go
last years,
okay,
right?
sure, but go back to last August in Daytona, and Brad was
That's
pushing.
different. That's different. Trying to get in the playoffs or last August or whatever. I mean, this is the Daytona 500. This is
I'm just
I
saying.
don't know, man. I'm not buying anybody not going out for themselves.
I
Sorry.
think there's part of it, and he probably ultimately would, but I do think it's a factor of he's in this race to be the wingman. So I'd be curious to see.
Another cool, and I'm jumping around a little bit, but I forgot to mention this. I just thought it was fascinating for a while watching Ty Gibbs kind of stick behind Jimmy Johnson, because Ty Gibbs is 21 years old, Jimmy's
Yeah.
48. I looked it up, and NASCAR Man RR on X, he had found the stat too that Jimmy Johnson was leading the points with I think it's 6 or 7 races to go in his rookie year on the day Ty Gibbs was born. And here they are in this race, drafting together for a long time. And I just was, just fast forwarding to Ty Gibbs when he's in his early 40s, mid 40s, 20 something years from now. Jimmy Johnson's almost a 70-year-old and a total legend, right? Like how I never got to cover Richard Petty, but like, he came in for a press conference. You're like, still like, man, it's Richard Petty, right? 7-time champion. He's still around. Wow, that's cool. Like people are going to be like in awe of like Jimmy's legend and lore is only going to grow over a generation, right? Like people are going to be
For
like,
sure.
what?
There's going to be, his
Yeah.
career's, I will argue to this day, his career has not been appreciated enough.
Right. So like the years will go by and all these, kids will be born who never even saw Jimmy race. But Ty Gibbs will be like this elder statesman, right? Like he'll be the veteran kind of guy that people hated for many years, and he won a championship. And in his final years, they come around on him like they're doing for Kyle Busch, and it'll be like he'll be like, oh yeah, I remember drafting with Jimmy at Daytona, and stuff like that. Like, and these younger kids will be like, man, Ty Gibbs, like he raced with Jimmy Johnson a few times. Like that's pretty cool. And they did. Like it wasn't just they were in the same race; they were
But
racing together tonight. So I thought that was neat. Like that's just a snapshot that you can remember for 20 something years from now.
you know what it's compared to is the 1992 season finale at Atlanta, which was Richard Petty's final start and Jeff Gordon's first career start. I mean, it's a little bit of parallels there. It's a crossing of generations.
That's a little. That's a little bit of. I mean, I'm not trying to shoot you down. I am shooting you down, but I'm not. This is not like Jimmy's last race and Ty Gibbs is coming as
Well,
a rookie.
okay,
I mean,
sure. But if you just say that, though, guess what? They raced last year, Jeff.
no, I know, but they raced on the
So
same
what's
track last year. But this was them. What I was saying is they were actually racing together tonight, which I thought was.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to go back and watch the Daytona race from last year, but they may have
All
had a
right,
moment
I feel
last
like I'm
year.
beating you down now, so I'm going to give you this point.
No, but I'm just saying, like, I mean, who knows? Maybe last year's Daytona 500 they were working together in the draft.
What else? What else from this race jumped out at you?
I thought Michael McDowell's business decision at the end of the race was really smart to bail. He's running what, second or third in the outside
Was that a
line.
business decision? I thought he just got
He
kinda
got
booted before
he
he's gonna
got
get wrecked.
squirrely, he got shuffled out, but then he just said, he didn't even fight it or try to do anything. I'm going right
Yeah.
to the back. Like
Well, once
that's a
he's going to
business
be on the
decision.
front row.
That's
So
what I'm saying.
once
That's
he
why
realized he
it's a
wasn't going to
business
win.
decision. It's
Yeah, you're right.
exactly
You're right. Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the thing. I thought that was really smart for maybe a guy I don't probably talk about enough, but this guy's usually in the mix for these races and qualified extremely well. And it's gonna be interesting to see how he and that team can do. They put a lot of emphasis in these races because they feel that this is their opportunity to punch on a level playing field with the bigger teams. And I know they won Indy last year, but still. And so they are very excited about their opportunity on Sunday, and they feel like they have a really good chance to leave with a second Daytona 500 trophy.
Yeah. Ford with the front row lockout ends Hendrick's streak that was dating back to 2014, or first time since 2014, I think, that there's no Hendrick car in the front row. And then what was interesting, the news came out, I think today, earlier this morning. I'm losing track of my days already. It's been such a long time here. But that front row is not only has a Penske Alliance, but they're going to be a Tier 1 Ford team, which is really significant in terms of manufacturer support of what is talked about. It's hard to move up the ladder if you're not one of these top tier teams for a manufacturer. So front row could take another step now.
And hypothetically, if Stewart Haas Racing doesn't renew its contract with Ford, that pecking order, everybody's going to slide up. So they're going to could be even in a better spot. So smart move with them. We know RFK's got its alliance with Rick Rowe Racing. So why not deviate from that and go to an opportunity where you maybe can have a better relationship? I mean, why not? If you can align yourself with the team that won the last 2 championships, why not? Smart move. And this is a team who over the last few years just continue to build and build and build, and they do a really good job. And it almost seems like Michael McDowell's stellar 2023 season was forgotten about already, partly because he went out in the first round of the playoffs. But man, they were so good last year. Like they freaking went to Indianapolis and won this race. Like this team is legit. Like they are
Are
doing
you
it.
are you making are you rethinking that neither of us picked him for the playoffs in our picks?
Can we talk about that, by the way? Like it was a struggle because you got four Hendrick cars, you got four JGR cars. So that's 8 of the 16 right there. And I think it's fair to say we both think that I don't say they're locks because I think last year showed nothing's a lock. There's a really good case to be made that all four of those cars from each organization are get in. And then you look at 2311 Racing. Like I feel good about those guys. RFK Racing, feel good about those guys. You throw Chastain and Kyle Busch in there, like all of a sudden you're out of spots. Like I and so it came down for me. It was like if you're going to make that prediction of hey, somebody's going to get in that wasn't in a year ago, and who's going to move in and who's going to move out. It's like I don't know. And you also have to take into account again, like Chase Elliott and Alex Bowman are going to bounce back, and I struggle with that, and it's a disservice to Michael McDowell and that team and what they've built. But I didn't feel good about it, but I just felt like that was a smart thing to do.
And you have Jones in, right?
I do have Jones, so I had
And who do you
Jones
have
get.
out? Because I
I
have
have
Jones out.
Yeah, I got Bubba in. I Bubba out. I have
Oh,
Jones
Bubba
in.
out. Right.
I and I don't feel good about that. And I kind of hedged it when I wrote this. Like Bubba going out winning 2-3 races this year wouldn't shock me at all. Like he should win multiple races this year. And he could win at Vegas. He could win at Kansas. Like I'm gonna look like an idiot because I had him on my playoffs. But and so I don't know where this is gonna come from. And it was hard, but I felt like I had to do something. And also, no offense, I didn't want to mirror yours 1 through 16. I felt like we had to have at least one different pick.
Yeah, we had 15 of the same picks. Although Chase Briscoe informed me that, and what we wrote on the Athletic,
Uh
we
huh.
picked the biggest disappointment stuff, and I've blown it so badly the last couple years that it has turned into, a reverse jinx pretty much because I picked Trackhouse to have a disappointing year 2 years ago. They obviously had a great year, almost won the championship, and then last year I picked RFK Racing as my biggest disappointment. That didn't go well for me. So this year I picked SHR, and Chase Briscoe said that means that all four SHR cars,
Uh huh.
I've gifted them by the powers of my horrible predictions. So congrats, guys. Hopefully you'll save some pizza for me at the celebration party.
I think they'd have more than pizza. I mean, it'd be like a steak dinner
Oh,
or something.
steak. Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Spire just had Olive Garden at their kickoff lunch. I wrote a big article about Spire on the
Great piece.
Athletic. So
Great piece.
thank you.
Definitive
Appreciate
piece of the
that.
week, by the way.
What?
And I will say, definitive. A lot of great pieces have come out this week and throughout the media landscape. Your piece is by far number one. Like I don't even think it's close.
I'm going to disagree with you.
No.
I'm going to disagree with you, Jordan. Not that I wouldn't love to claim that crown, but as this will be my ad read for the Athletic, because you can go to theathletic.com/NASCAR tomorrow morning, which for those of you listening, it probably already will be tomorrow morning, but Friday morning, whenever you're hearing this, Jordan, I don't know how you do it. He said, you know what? An anonymous poll of people in the garage. We'll see how many we can get. And I'm like, how many are we going to be able to get? Well, I contributed 3. Jordan got 27 people. And I saw him on media day going after a lot of these people. Pretty amazing. I mean, we're talking 20 drivers are among these 30 people that Jordan talked to. We asked them 6 questions. Who will be the regular season champion? Who will be the cup champion?
Mm-hmm.
Who will be the biggest positive surprise, biggest disappointment, race you're most looking forward to, and race you're least looking forward to?
Which is my
And
favorite category out of those, by the way.
oh, some of the quotes that I got
Yeah.
a preview of Jordan's piece before it's publishing. It's got some of the quotes. Wait till you guys see this. I don't want to spoil it, but make sure you go to the Athletic, support our work, because you're going to want to at least read Jordan's piece. I think that's the
No.
one that people will be talking about this week. I appreciate you saying that about my Spire story because I worked hard on it. But
Aspire, it was a great. No, my piece is just my thing is just asking questions. Like you did real reporting. You put in the time. You put in the legwork. Like that was a good piece. And the thing about the Spire story is you changed, you helped change the image of this team, because I think it's fair to say the image of this team is, until recently, because I mean, they've made a lot of big moves. So let's just say up until the last year or so, like, like, oh, they're just getting by. Are they really putting money into the team? Are they really trying to be competitive? And you can't say that anymore. Like they've added cars, they've brought in a bunch of sponsors, they've added drivers, they bought a brand new building, they bought charter. Like they're doing all of these things, and you do a really good job of telling that story and that journey of how they started small, and it was just kind of like, I don't say, is it fair to say get by, initially? Like, let's just get by and do this. And then we're going to build this slowly. And slowly is the key word. And they've done that. And they keep climbing up that pecking order. And you did a great job of kind of telling that journey. So I'll let you take it from here because I'm walking on all
Well,
over you.
no, I mean, I don't want to, I'm not going to try to brag on my own story. I was just bringing it up
Oh,
because of
toot
the
your
all
own
government
horn,
stuff.
man.
But
Beep, beep. It was good stuff.
the Spire part is fascinating though, in that they, really had no intentions of being a race team, and then they figured out how to play the charter games, and they are the example of why this charter system is actually a good thing, and how they built up value and sort of charter hopped from one to another and figured out the system to make it work for themselves. And now suddenly they're a 3-car team in a new shop, and they're here to play, and it's like Hocevar had a good run tonight, you know what I mean? And
Zane
like,
Smith did too.
yeah,
Corey LaJoy for much of the first half of that duel number one, was running up front, and he looked good, and I think
Corey LaJoy has like a big sponsor, Chili's, like
Chili's,
legit
yeah,
Chili's.
yeah, he's a
So
legit guy who
there's
could
a
win this
commercial
race.
coming out with it. It's, I think, going to play during the race. I saw this
Yeah,
commercial and it's like really good. So I mean, it's, Spire has suddenly gone from, everybody making jokes about them. Basically, I mean, they
hmm
were the butt of the jokes. Justin Haley won that race, and it was like, oh my gosh, like these guys they're not even trying, and they won a race. Like, what's going on here? But they couldn't try because they didn't have any money. they they had to take out a loan to buy a charter, and they were just trying to make payroll, and now they're in a good spot. They're not in Hendrick level spot, but they're in a good spot. So
they're on that path and they're making
yeah.
progress.
Speaking of Hendrick, we touched on this. I will say, despite the Toyota element of this, there's a couple storylines going to the 500 that sometimes the 500 gives you such a storyline where you're like, that just all makes sense. Just all fits together. Hendrick, I think on Monday, Winston Kelly said during the press conference, is the actual 40th anniversary of Hendrick's first race. They had 6 employees and a bunch of volunteers. They have since won 301 races, and among those, 8 Daytona 500s. The next one would be a record-tying 9th Daytona 500. They have not won the Daytona 500 in 10 years since you wrote about this week with Dale Jr. You talked to Dale Jr. about his 2 Daytona 500 wins 20 years ago and 10 years ago. And that's the last time Hendrick won the Daytona 500. So it would sort of be fitting, especially if this race ends up being Monday for some reason. Hendrick wins on the 40th anniversary. Their 9th Daytona 500, tie the record. I mean, you could see all the pieces sort of coming together. That's number one. Number two, the Kyle Busch part of this, right? Like he's sticking with the 20 years of trying, 20 years of frustration thing, even though it's actually only his 19th attempt, because he said at media day, I forgot about 2015 when I broke my leg. But he said, I did try that year. I mean, I came down, I qualified for the race. Like it's been 20 years is his point. So he said, this will be 20 years and next year will be 20 tries. So, but either way, he was leading at the 500th mile last year. Then he won Talladega. So we could see, and now he's going to have to start in the back, but with his backup car. But Kyle Busch, maybe. So you could see. I mean, there's maybe some things
Yeah,
that could happen. I
I
don't
mean
know.
he'll like he said, man, he'll tell you quickly. He was leading last year at mile 500. Um, yeah, he's due. Won Talladega last spring. RCR, brings really good stuff. And you used to be, way back, guys switch to backup cars and you'd quickly dismiss them. They're done. There's no way. Now it doesn't matter, especially RCR. Like they bring their backup is as good as the primary, and he'll be fine. And it's just a matter of putting yourself in the right spot and making the right moves. And he seems to have kind of approached these races a little bit differently too now, and is done. Uh, but I don't want to put words in his mouth, but it felt like before it was like he came here and he just kind of like, I hate speedway racing. It's not my thing. We'll just get through it, right? And it seems like now, not necessarily embracing it, but just kind of more accepting it. I think that would be fair to say.
Yeah.
And I do think that having that mentality in these races pays dividends. You look at a Denny Hamlin, for example. He loves this stuff. Like, he loves these races. He knows he's good at it. He gets it. And Ryan Blaney was the same way. Ryan Blaney likes these. Well, I don't know if after tonight in the last couple of races, but mostly looks at this and says, "I can do this." Yeah, there's some luck and everything like that, but I'm better at this than these guys. And coming here, and Dale was the same way. You came here with a confidence. You didn't come here with a defeatist attitude of, I don't have the luck, and it's all up to the racing gods, and et cetera, et cetera. You came here and you think, I can do this. I can put myself in a position. Yeah, things got to fall my way to some degree, but I'm going to control what I can control. And I think when you have that mentality, it does pay dividends.
Do you have a pick for the Daytona 500, Jordan?
Toyota?
I'm with
I
you,
mean,
but which,
I mean, yeah, I do, and it's Denny Hamlin. I mean, I said this, and I know that his move at the end of the race maybe didn't work out the way he wanted it to, but he's the best in these races, the best. He knows how to make moves. He knows how to defend. He obviously has a fast race car. I think this is his. I think it's his race, and they showed, by the way, and we talked about it. If they get in the back, and they're going to have to come a little bit from the back, some of these guys, the Toyotas can make moves. They can get to the front, and that's going to be the thing. I think Denny Hamlin wins his fourth Daytona 500.
I mean, it was going to be my pick, so I'm not going to repeat the same pick as you because that's super lame. But along the same lines, after what I saw from the Toyotas tonight, you're like, wow, it's pretty compelling case here to pick a Toyota. And who's the best at super speedways among Toyota drivers? Denny Hamlin, right? So it's tough to, you know, you look at it and you're like, I don't know who else to go with. So this is going to be my strange random pick that I really don't have an explanation for, but I will go with Martin Truex Jr.
That's
to
not a bad
win
pick.
his first Daytona 500.
That's not a bad pick at all. People knock Truex, and I have to go back, but you look at last year's race. Didn't he win the first two stages in last year's race?
You know better than me. I don't have a good
I,
memory
I, I
about this
think
stuff.
he won one of them, if not both. Like, he's good in these races. He can't finish them worth a damn for various reasons, but he runs these races well. I mean, he finished second in the closest Daytona 500 ever.
Yeah,
He's in the mix. He's fair to say never won a super speedway race before, which is like the
right.
only But he's really good. Also lost to Eric Jones at Talladega here at Daytona, the July race by inches. So runs these races well. You could say he's due. Be interesting, and especially finishing the season the way he did last year in the playoffs, and as bad as it went, turn around and boom, win Daytona, man. Be a great way to start that year, and it could be his final year. Great walk off.
Yeah. By the way, Eric Jones, that could be another.
Really
I don't
good
know.
here too. I
There's
mean,
so
listen,
many.
listen. Here's the
You
thing.
can make a case for so
You
many
just
people.
here's the thing. Just pick a random Don't get go give me a Cas Growler. No offense, no Cas, but pick somebody, on the starting lineup, and I bet you we could make a case for it.
Okay, so I have a random number generator here that I just
Okay.
typed in on Google. I'm picking between 1 and 99, and I'm going to have it generate a number. It has generated. No, that's number 80. There's no number. It has generated number 1.
Oh, that's what I was just saying. I mean, he's won at Talladega before. Like that's not a stretch at
I feel
all to
like
see him.
I don't know. I don't know if he's going to finish this race, but
Why?
I don't know. I just feel
I
like
mean,
he
you could say that about anybody. I
makes
mean,
aggressive
he's
moves and he
but
gets
the
caught up in stuff. And
but unlike Truex, I mean, it's their body of work is. He's already won a super speed race. He has shown that he can actually finish these
I
out. I
get
mean,
that. I get
yeah.
that.
I'm not saying he's my pick to win. He wouldn't be in my top 10, but it wouldn't be
You could
shocking.
really, I mean, you could talk yourself into just
That's what I'm
about anything
saying.
in this
That
race,
is
but
exactly what I'm saying. Like Austin Cindric, Austin Dillon, okay, Josh Berry. I don't know if I could see that would be a little tougher to do. Drives a Ford maybe, but mostly it's Kyle Larson, easy. Brad Keselowski, easy. Corey LaJoy, easy. Kyle Busch, easy. I mean, Chase Elliott,
Justin
like,
Haley.
yeah. I mean, I'm literally just running through like numbers in order here, and like we only ran into
oh,
one guy so far with Josh Berry. We're
yeah.
like, oh yeah,
Oh, we
like
did
I
the
mean,
numbers in order. Yeah, I
yeah,
understand what you're doing now.
yeah, like
By the
so.
way, our chat, I'm told our live chat that we, but for those of you listening to this, we do these on YouTube live now. So our chat is picking Chevy
Sure.
over Toyota and Ford to pick the 500. That's fine. You guys go with that.
Hendrick,
I mean,
yeah, I mean, I get it. Hendrick, RCR, Trackhouse, I get it.
yeah. I mean, I'm not going to argue with you. Like
No,
you could. There's no stupid picks for this race, legit. So,
well, I
all
mean,
right.
you could. There are some stupid picks, but yeah.
Okay, sure. Do you have anything else, or do you want me to open this outfit, this suitcase?
Is it time?
This black suitcase.
Oh
I
my
don't know.
goodness,
I cannot even tell you how much I'm dreading this. It's just it's all anybody wants to talk about. You run into people at the track, and it's about the outfit, and then you're showing everybody on the phone, oh, here's your outfit, and everybody's like, oh my gosh, and I'm just I can't wait till this is done. And I think also it's annoyed our friends by now. Like Bob's made comments to me like, oh, I'm just get this outfit done. I'm just so tired of this. So
Bob hasn't said anything to me, so he can't be that annoyed.
well, maybe he didn't say it like that, but I think he's everybody's tired of hearing about this, right? Can we just get this outfit over with? So what do I have to do here? I just open this
Just open the suitcase. Just open it up. And remember, there are two of the same outfit in there, so you're gonna see. Just don't be shocked.
Okay. Well, I will try to talk through this for those listening to the podcast and not the video. I'm actually kind of nervous right now. All right. Okay. Cannot believe. Did you really? Is this suitcase just the outfit? You packed this? You
Yeah.
brought this on the plane just
Well,
for?
Well, no, I didn't pack it on the plane. My parents live down here. I got a suitcase
Oh.
from them. I had the suit shipped down here. I listen. Anybody knows how I pack knows that I have no room in my suitcase for anything.
The lighting's weird in here, but for some reason this looks pink.
Bingo! It is pink.
All right, so we have this hat. I guess I will not be wearing my hat.
Why don't you put that on right
Oh.
now? It looks good on you. Look at that. Perfect fit. Stylish. Looking good, my friend. Keep going.
Okay. Oh, this is horrible. Look at this belt. This
White
is
belt.
Yeah, I didn't describe it for the podcast part. Sorry. I'm wearing a white. What is this? Like
It's a
look
white.
like in the musical Newsies.
Yeah. White hat.
A
White
hat,
belt. And when you have,
white
and it's
belt
very,
with holes in it, like
Yeah.
a bunch of moths ate through it. Is that accurate?
and it's very important, Jeff, that your belt matches your shoes.
There's okay. Shoes. Oh, well, these are going to get ruined. These are white shoes. These are supposed to.
Yeah.
It's supposed to rain on Sunday, and
It's okay.
you don't have
That's
backup
fine.
shoes, huh? Got you there.
It'd be okay.
Okay. Well, I have these shoes that you've purchased for me.
Yeah. You look good. Size
Are these the
13, right?
size? I wear size 13, so
By the way, the chat is saying the hat looks good on you. So
okay.
thank
well,
you.
This is the only time you're going to see. Well, this and Sunday.
No, it's not the only time. All day Sunday, maybe Monday too.
Yeah, Monday. Yeah, whatever. Okay.
All right, here we go.
Wait. All I'm seeing is pink. All I'm seeing is pink.
Yeah.
It's not just a pink sport coat, but the pants are pink too. They're
It's a
just
pink
like
suit.
the Pink Panther.
It's a pink suit. Jeff is going to be wearing a pink suit on Daytona 500 race day.
And pink pants. I thought this was supposed to be something you would wear.
I would 100% wear that. In fact,
A pink suit, pink and pink.
100%. I actually might buy that
I'm
for
not
myself.
asking The Rock a question wearing
The
this.
Rock's going to look at you and go, damn, you look good. I actually, as the circle of friends that I have consulted about this over the last few months, they have all said the same thing. That is 100% an outfit I would wear. And in fact, some of my closest of my inner circle have said that I actually should buy a suit like that.
You can have it. I mean, I don't want it.
Well, if the
I
other one
need
you
to
don't
take
wear,
it
if
home.
you
I'm
don't
never
wear the
gonna
other
wear it
one,
again. What?
if you don't wear the other one, I may take that one.
Okay.
Yeah. So
You
Jeff
can take
will be
both
wearing.
back. I mean,
No,
what am I
Is
going to
it-
do
oh,
with these? Do you think I'm ever going to wear these? Am I going to go to somebody's wedding and wear these again or something?
well,
Like,
when we cover Formula One in Vegas, that'd be perfect.
you
Look,
think I'm going to wear this in public on purpose?
you
Pink
should.
and pink?
You should. Better than what you're wearing now.
What is wrong with this? Well, except for this. This is I'm wearing a vest.
Where's your
I'm wearing
minivan parked there, Chief?
I'm a suburban dad. You know what? You will be dressing like a suburban dad next year. So soak it up right now.
No.
Soak up the pink suit. I'm going hard at Target on my shopping spree next year. And I'm going to have to
You look-
spend a lot less money than you just spent on whatever this clown outfit is.
You look okay. You have to admit. So
Do you have the receipt for this? I hope you kept the receipt.
And-
You can pretend that I didn't wear it.
Did
If
you
it gets
thi-
wet, you're
were
going to have
you-
to.
Were you worried that I was going to go much more extreme?
I mean, I'm wearing pink and pink.
Yeah,
To
but
the
I
Daytona
could have.
500. How much more
gone-
extreme is there? What is?
I mean,
aside
I
from
have-
wearing an actual clown nose.
I could have gone all sorts of. I mean, I could have got you a sports coat with lights on it, which also was considered.
Yeah, but it had to be something that you would wear, right? So
I
like,
would wear that at the right occasion.
all right.
It's not bad. You should be thanking me. Pete,
I
and
really, I just hope.
And you need to acknowledge a lot of people that have seen this have said that looks good.
It just dawned on me. You
Oh,
said these are not only pink pants, but these are tight pink pants because you've
Yeah.
been talking to everybody about how tight they are.
Yeah, you need to roll a
These
quarter.
are tight pink pants.
They hopefully so. Hopefully, yes.
Okay, I don't see how I got off easy here. Everybody else is like, "Oh, this isn't so actually not so bad. This is not good." I mean, I'm not. Okay. Well, I'm putting my other hat back on for now.
Put your other hat back on. Sunday. Well, maybe Monday.
Let's hope it. Boy, I tell you what, there's been races where I really hoped it got in that day. This is now P1 on the list because I do not want to have to wear this 2 days in a row. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Please, weather gods. You know what? I believe in the vortex theory. I believe in the vortex theory now. Get those cars on track, baby. Let's get this thing in on Sunday.
Can't. You know the nice thing too is you got to wear it to the tweet up.
Oh, crap. All right. Well, this has been a great podcast, everybody. Hope you enjoyed this.
This is fun.
Yeah.
This was everything I wanted it to be and more.
Yeah. Why don't you just close? I don't even. I'm at a loss. You can just sign us off, Jordan.
Jeff, Jordan, you're listening to the Teardown. It's been fun. We will talk to you Sunday night, hopefully, maybe Monday night after the Daytona 500. I'm Jordan Bianchi. That's the Pink Panther, and you're listening to the Teardown on Dirty Mo.